Do we have any good vehicles in Standard? Was a question you might be asking yourself. I asked it to myself before aetherdrift comes out. I was going to look at the rare and mythic vehicles that we do have, see if any of these might see play. I am curious on what the start your engines mechanic is going to be. I feel like it's if you crew 2 or more vehicles on a turn. So let's see if we have anything out there to play with before aetherdrift comes out. I think this is the worst of the mythics that we have. A lot of oil counter decks are not seeing play anymore, but as long as the Weather Light completed has 4 more Phyresis counters on it, might have pronounced that wrong. It's a Phyrexian creature in addition to its other types, maybe Roaming Throne. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a Phyresis counter on Weather Light, and then you draw a card. So you could like play this, play Split Up, kill creatures, put counters on it, scry. I don't see this having any impact post Aetherdrift. Next up is the Cultivator's Caravan. Crew 3, add 1 mana of any color. I don't get this card. I don't think it's good. I could be missing something. I'm not a great player. Gonna pass on this card, not picking any up before Aetherdrift. Golden Argosy. When this attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn, return them to the battlefield. This is the first one that kind of shocked me. I don't know. I don't think this is good enough for the Esper Pixie deck because a lot of those are 1 through 3 mana creatures, but bounce is a mechanic right now. I don't think it's going to see play. Would not surprise me if it did, but I can see a borderline example of maybe 1 crew cost, get that Esper Pixie bounce. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a card that is potentially good enough. It's definitely a fringe card. Maybe we'll see it in a challenge deck or 2. Moving on to the next one, another rare from Ixalan the Belligerent. I remember this doing okay in limited formats, but whenever it attacks, create a treasure token. Until the end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. More of a commander card. I don't think we're going to see this at all. I don't think it works, especially for 4 costs. Crew 3 is expensive. Not a great card. The only card that I've actually seen play in paper is the Schooner. I used to play it. I've seen other people play it. It's been in some blue decks with Tidebinder and other cards, landfall decks as well. When it attacks, target creature that crewed it, explored. It's good for landfall triggers, but that's about it. Crew 1 is good. A 2-drop is good. A 3/4 on turn 3 is pretty solid. Next up is the Magmatic Galleon. I just think it's too expensive. Crew 2 is also kind of expensive, but when it enters the battlefield, it deals 5. We have overlords that can do that more efficiently. Whenever one or more creatures your opponent's controller dealt excess combat damage, create a treasure token. Maybe I just don't see this seeing any play at all. My favorite vehicle is next. The Hedge Shredder. Whenever it attacks, you may mill 2 cards. I have this in my Mothman Commander deck. I know this is a standard video, but whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tapped. We're not seeing a ton of just mill or discarding in standard. I don't see that ever really resolving. Crew 1 is good. It is expensive, but if you do have some sort of graveyard and then you can hit 2 land drops in a turn, it's a bonus. It's really not that consistent of a card, but it might see some play. Green is stronger than it's really ever been in standard. Normally it's just a mere running the streets, but we did see green win the last the SGG con in Atlanta. Last up, Unidentified Hovershift. This was so good in the Duskmourn limited format, but I just don't see it having any constructed play because whenever someone would remove this, it's going to allow the controller of the exiled card to manifest Shred, which is a lot of value. Crew 1 is a good cost, a 2/2 with flying. I wish it was a little bit stronger. I have never seen this in any standard deck that has seen play, but that's another vehicle. So, frankly, the moral of this story is I don't think any of the vehicle cards are that good. Hopefully we're getting some good mechanics to make vehicles stronger, and we're getting at least, I'm guessing we're going to get the 10 cards in this, the 10 vehicle cards that they're describing in the story of Aetherdrift. So who knows? Am I going to be wrong? Am I going to be right? Here's kind of the best vehicles that we have so far.